What's happening, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Two Dudes Reviews podcast. I'm Mike, and he's Dave.
What's up, everybody?
To get the formalities out of the way, you can visit us at twodudesreviews.com. That's the number 2dudesreviews.com. You can also hook up with us on Twitter at 2dudes140review. That's the number 2 and the 1 and the number 140. We're also on Facebook. You can get a link to that from our website. Feel free to give us a like there. And we'll be using Instagram now with the 15-second thing that they started, so we'll be on there. We're doing our little reviews on there as well. And we're going to probably throw up the podcast on YouTube as well, so you can subscribe and such there as well as continue to subscribe and comment and rate us on iTunes. We would really appreciate that. We have a lot to get to today. We have 3 reviews. Again this week, we have Under the Dome, the TV miniseries that just started on CBS this week. We're going to go over the season 1 of Hannibal, and also the recent DVD release of Side Effects. We have a couple quick things on industry news, and we'll go over to this week's movie releases and video game releases this week as well. So let's get started. The first review we have this week is Under the Dome, that just started on Monday night on CBS. They're calling it a mini-series, but it looks like it's about half a full season that they're going to run with the series. Both Dave and I did check it out. Dave wrote the review for the site. I checked it out just earlier today. I didn't catch it live or anything like that. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I was very surprised. I was, for a summertime series on network television, I thought it was pretty high quality, which is surprising for a series like that. It's, usually series during the summer aren't really all that high quality. They're just kind of filler and such, as networks work on their fall TV schedule and, producing pilots and such for that. But I was surprised. It was pretty high quality and there was actually for a sci-fi, drama on network television. I thought that they actually, gave it the special effects a little bit more of a budget than you usually see from these. I don't know if that has to do with Steven Spielberg being a part of it, and he has a certain level of quality that they have to live up to with that. But I was pretty impressed with the series, with the show.
Yeah. I liked the pilot a lot. It was, like you were saying, that this time of year is that you can't really expect much from a new episode or from a new series. Even though, like you said, they're calling it a mini series, but it's really just a few episodes shy of an entire season. The premise was really good. I haven't read the book on this one yet. I am a big Stephen King fan, but I haven't checked out the book on this. A lot of people enjoyed the book, but so I don't know what to expect from this. But usually with Stephen King, either his movies or his books, they usually put out something really good, something creepy that sometimes people think that they fall flat towards the end, but I don't know. The pilot started strong with this one, so it's going to keep it interesting. I'm excited to see what happens with it. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to probably keep checking it out. The one thing that I worry about with these types of shows, especially, mid-season replacements or even summer shows that they put on, is that sometimes the pilot grabs you and then it just kind of falls apart from there. So it's going to leave me a bit skeptical, with that. But, I was impressed with the first one, and there's some familiar faces that you see. There's like Dean Norris, who plays Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. He's in it. Jeff Fahey is in it. Maybe was, or who knows. There's also some new faces as well that you see, and some kind of familiar faces you see from television. That kind of maybe have lesser roles or in series that weren't so successful. Like Mike Vogel's in it. He's one of the stars. And I believe that I can't remember her name on the show, but I believe that the reporter that's married to the doctor, I think she was in Twilight, wasn't she? Yeah.
She was one of the. I know they had a recasting of one of the characters in Twilight, and she was. I forget if she was the first one or the second one. But yeah, she was one of the characters in Twilight, and yeah, so she is going to be playing a big role in this one. And I, I I got that, but on that note, like it almost felt kind of like what we were saying about Game of Thrones in this first episode, where they almost threw a lot of characters in a very short period of time, where like I see maybe one character that kind of takes center stage, but they all kind of are being jammed in there in the first hour. So if they're gonna try to get this in a very shortened season, there's so many people to talk about that they're kind of they threw too many at me in the first episode.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it kind of has that for me as well. I mean, it seems to stick with maybe a handful of main characters,
Yeah.
but there's kind of varying different storylines. I don't know how deep they'll actually go with them. The only storyline that I didn't really find this kind of almost cringeworthy was the kind of stalker guy. What was his name? Junior.
Yeah.
That whole storyline, with him with the girl and kind of stalking her, and then eventually in the episode taking her captive. It was just an odd storyline. It didn't seem to really fit with the show unless there's something that is going on that he's a part of, that's actually going on with the huge event that's taking place. But that was the only real storyline that I felt kind of like it was out of place, and it was almost every time he was on the screen, I was just like I cringed a little bit because it was also he wasn't really a very good actor.
Yeah, it seemed really awkward and just like you said, out of place. Just to see him, just he tried to be creepy, but he was creepy in just a weird, like let's get through these scenes kind of way.
Yeah,
Not something you wanted to keep watching. Like it was, I hope it's something that they either develop him more and make him more of a main character and make him part of an over like more of the main storyline, or it's something that they find him out and he gets offed in like the second episode or something.
oh
And
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping because he either has to be a much better actor or
yeah,
they need to do something with that storyline, and kind of quickly with that. But how do you like? Do you? They kind of made it seem like, well, I guess he's not the mayor; he's like the council
yeah.
person. Dean Norris's character. Like, do you think that they know what's going on, or he kind of knows what's happening, or is there some other storyline in place, like they were hoarding propane for some reason? They didn't really talk. They revealed that, but they didn't tell us why. Do you think that he kind of has any knowledge of what's going on?
I'm on the fence about it. Like I do think that there's something to this hoarding of propane, that he's got some sort of knowledge to what's going on, or that he has some sort of role in the plot. But on the other hand, something tells me that in a Stephen King book or a show, this is happening for no reason to these people who have no idea what's going on. Like this is some sort of outside force happening to them.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. But the fact that they brought in this whole thing about the hoarding of propane, I think this is going to be one of those things that there is a connection to what's happening inside and the dome.
Yeah, and I also got to feel like he actually knows Mike Vogel's character, which I think they said his nickname is Barbie.
Yeah,
Like when they that first scene where he comes to that area where Mike Vogel was, they kind of looked at each other and they kind of acted like, well, I know you, but I'm not gonna like make it known that we know each other. It kind of had that kind of feel from it to me. I don't know if it had the same one for you.
yeah, yeah. I did get that feeling, and I don't know. There's a few of those awkward moments and those things that kind of give you kind of foreshadowing into what could be happening with this town, because there's really nothing in the first episode that gives you any sort of real solid information as to what this Barbie guy's doing in town, because
Right.
you know he doesn't belong there,
Right.
and he I mean right out of the beginning of the episode, he's burying a dead body.
Right,
So
right.
like he's burying a dead body in a town he doesn't belong in. So
Which you later find out who that person is, and
yeah,
I wonder how that's all connected and such. But it's an interesting series. It kind of reminds me that I kind of watched after it was off the air was Jericho. It kind of has the same feel
yeah,
to it that it's a small town that's going through this epic event in their area, and they kind of have to work together to survive a little bit and to get together. So it kind of has that feel to it, especially like with Skeet Ulrich's character in that show. It kind of reminds me of what Mike Vogel is doing in here, a guy that almost sound like and I maybe I misheard, but it sounded like he had a military background. Like when the woman asked him, are you in the military? Because I think he said not at the moment or something like that,
yeah.
or not
He definitely
anymore.
made he made some sort of comment like that that kind of left it open ended and didn't really yeah
Yeah,
yeah. So he's got some sort of secret about his past that it's they'll probably reveal more about that because they left something definitely open ended there.
yeah. So, and the one thing I saw in your review is that, and then we'll read it here in a couple minutes, that I actually didn't mind the characters and the writing and the story. I thought the script came to me was kind of, it kept it brisk. It's kept it, there wasn't any lull in it, and I didn't find any of the characters were, I don't know, other than the one guy, the creepy guy, that I felt like there was decent, we got to know these characters a little bit about who they are. They're a little bit of who they are as far as, the one cop is married to one of the firefighters, and the reporter with with her husband, the doctor, and things like that. I actually kind of, thought it was well done for what it is. And, so I didn't see that really part of it.
I I think my main issue was with the was with I think the what we're going to find out to be most of the supporting cast of characters, and it's like
Yeah.
the creepy kid. I mean, I had a problem with his girlfriend, I guess, that is not really his girlfriend. She was kind of a weak actress character.
Yeah.
Her brother, because how long did it take her brother to explain to her that our parents are in this other town? And she was like,
Right.
so what? And it's like, this town is not under the dome. And she was like, oh, and she really had no reaction to it. And it was like, uh, come on, you're on
Yeah.
your own here. like and like yeah, so like her and her brother and that creepy guy, so there's this like supporting cast of characters that hopefully that we get to see more development of these main characters, and they kind of gravitate towards more of developing those main characters and not focusing so much on doing just like a broad spectrum and focusing on everyone in town.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that part of it. It's an interesting thought, but I was really surprised by the quality of it for the time that it's on in the year, and also for network television. To for network television, it's kind of not quality you expect from a sci-fi drama. But like I said, it's probably something to do with Steven Spielberg being a part of it, and he has a certain quality and standard that you have to live up to with him. So I was surprised. I was surprised. I'm definitely going to keep watching. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be skeptical about it, and
Yeah.
hopefully that you get the same type of quality that we had in this pilot, as well as how brisk it was. It didn't feel like an hour show. It felt like it moved very quickly, which I liked. It at a very efficient pace. So definitely, I'll definitely keep checking it out. So Dave's review on Under the Dome. While the premise is creepy and engrossing, the characters and their writing are weak. It has serious potential with the development and focus, which I totally agree with that part of it. So the next review we have is the Hannibal. Season 1 just wrapped up on NBC about a week ago. And it's a series that I know Dave checked out the whole series. I watched the first couple episodes and then checked out. I wasn't all that impressed with it. Plus, I don't know if it's just because I'm not a very smart guy or whatever, but I didn't know what was going on. I was completely lost, and it was all over the place for me, and I didn't really get into it all that much, even though I kind of liked the main character Will, by who's played by Hugh Dancy, and I like Lawrence Fishburne as well. But I was just it didn't I don't know, it didn't do enough for me to stick around. But I know Dave did. Tell us a little about what happened in the season.
Yeah, I mean the season was. I thought the season was phenomenal, but that was definitely one of its drawbacks was that it tried to be, I think, smarter than its audience, and that kind of, I think that kind of put some people off, and that, like I said, that's maybe one of the drawbacks that it had. The other would be it is really violent for primetime TV, like
Mm.
for a major network. I know we get a lot of you get a lot of violence on primetime with like HBO and like AMC with The Walking Dead, but for NBC for that show that it's at 10 o'clock at night, but it was still very violent for 10 o'clock at night on NBC, which I think put a lot of people off too. But when you get past those things, there was a lot of great content in this show. I've been a big fan of the whole Hannibal Lecter series. I've actually read all the books and I watched all the movies. He's actually probably I find one of the most fascinating characters in literature and movies. And I got really excited that there was going to be a show about it. And it takes place before the prequel. The prequel was Red Dragon, which takes place before. I know a lot of people think of Hannibal Lecter. They think of Silence of the Lambs,
Right.
where he's already in prison and he's talking to Jodie Foster. And this kind of takes place before that all happened. And he's working with. He's actually a psychologist. He's a psychiatrist for Will Graham, who is working with the FBI to solve these crimes. And I guess what they don't know is that all the crimes that they're trying to figure out was Hannibal committing all these crimes.
Right.
And it's really interesting that he goes through all these steps, and he's just very brilliant about the whole thing. And it's just enthralling to watch him kind of pull the wool over everybody's eyes with how smart he is. And they even take almost every episode. There is a scene where he has a dinner party with somebody either from the FBI or a fellow colleague that he is feeding them something from, and there is rarely a scene that they show Hannibal Lecter committing a crime, but you can tell he did something that, well, now there's a dinner party and he's feeding someone some meat. And it's really kind of, it was just great TV, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the potential there. It just when I watched the first episode, I don't know, I was just confused about what was going on. It was, when that first episode when he's kind of recreating that first crime scene, it was, to me, it almost confused me a little bit about how they did the recreation. It's not something I've seen done on television or in a movie. That it almost made me think, wait a minute, did he actually commit these crimes? Or, it's kind of wasn't all that explained all that well about how he was recreating it. That he was just seeing all of it in his mind, and that's how he was determining, what happened in these different crime scenes. Because between that and the hallucinations that he was having, or whatever it was just it threw me off a little bit. And I was like, I wasn't really exactly sure what I was seeing and what was his reality and what was just his imagination or hallucinations. So I think that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. Will Graham, like he fades in and out of this reality, and there's this whole thing about him getting too close to the crime, that because he sees what actually happened. And it's really weird because it was actually one of the things I didn't really agree with the show on, because the the movie and the book, he's a very intuitive kind of consultant. He's not really an agent. He's just a consultant,
Right.
and he's very intuitive that he can see what happens when he looks at the crime scene. But in this show, it's almost like he has. I'm trying to think of the show. I think it was a show or a movie. It might have been both. Called The Dead Zone,
Hmm.
where a guy would go up to a crime scene or a dead body, and he would touch it, and he would be able to, like, he would see everything that happened.
Okay.
And it's almost like that's where they took this show. Like, Will Graham actually saw everything happen, and I think that was kind of a departure from the book and the movie. And it was more just an intuitive. Oh, he understands a criminal, and it was kind of
Okay.
almost more of a. It almost felt like a supernatural power at first, and
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
it was just very odd. It between that and his hallucinations and his dreams and things like that. It was just very. It kind of confused me, to the point where it's like I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's reality and what's not, and you know, and I think that's where it may have turned people off like me that didn't watch the show any further after just a couple episodes. Which is disappointing to me because I think he was a really good job. I mean, obviously, the guy that plays Hannibal Mickelson, he was terrific from the couple episodes I saw, and I've always kind of liked Lawrence Fishburne. I always thought he's a good actor, and he plays kind of that FBI guy very well in a lot of his
Yeah.
movies and things like that. So, it was disappointing that I didn't really care for it after a couple episodes, but and I think that was the main part of it for me is I just didn't know. I don't know if that really changed much going after that. So I don't know if I should have just stuck around or if that's what it was and it just didn't appeal to me for how it was developed.
They try to explain it a little more, but it doesn't get much different. He still does the same thing with every crime. They try to explain it. He has some sort of what they call some sort of encephalitis in his brain or something like that. That his hallucinations are not actually like a mental disorder. He is actually some sort of sickness he that is causing him to hallucinate and causing him to have these weird dreams. But it also kind of taps him into these hallucinations of what he sees from these crimes.
Oh, okay.
So it makes him it makes it seem toward the end of the season more of a realistic trait, but it still they seem like they give him almost too much power with the crimes that he's looking at and how he's able to solve them.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, that's interesting because I kind of almost thought like they almost implied that it was almost like I don't know if it was or to me it was implied that he had like Asperger's or something.
yeah,
That he had these social issues that developed from Asperger's, but it was otherwise but that's interesting that they found that it's actually a sickness that he had. It wasn't something that he had a disorder.
they find that out later, and then there's a very uh, I won't spoil it, but there is a very different twist. They end the final show very differently than they end the book and the movie Red Dragon. It leaves it open for season two, which they said that they are definitely going to make, and there's definitely going to be a second season. Which I know there was going to be there was a question mark on this show for a while because the ratings were up and down. But
Right.
they have said that there is going to be a season two now. They have renewed it, so they've kind of left it open, and so things did end differently. So I thought they did really well with it. Like you said, I mean, Mickelson was just an amazing version of Hannibal Lecter. I mean, no one's ever going to be able to compare to Anthony Hopkins. Like,
Right. Right.
like that's one of the most impressive feats on film ever. But he was amazing.
Yeah, he was very creepy. I mean,
Yeah,
he plays the creep role very well.
yeah. he has that ability to be very, very smart, very sophisticated, and also very calm and collected while he's being violent and criminalistic. So he did very well with it. He showed that ability in Casino Royale too, and
Yeah.
he did that very well. So I can see why he was cast in this role. He
Yeah.
did an excellent job with it.
Plus his like his accent and his the tone in his voice. It's
Yeah,
like all that together. It's like, dude, you might be this in real life. This
yeah,
this doesn't seem very far from who you are really in real life.
yeah. The only thing that bugged me when they were addressing him in the show formally as instead, like, because a lot of people did call him Hannibal throughout the show, but when they addressed him formally as Dr. Lecter, they they ripped off Jodie Foster every single time. It felt like they had to whisper it. It
Ah,
was not just they referred to him as Dr. Lecter. It was always Dr. Lecter. It was very creepy. Like it was like, come on, do
that's
it
funny.
once or twice, but come on.
Do they ever
Like,
throw in any classic like movie lines? Like
there
like
was no, yeah, no, there was
no fava beans or
no
anything like
fava
that?
beans and a Chianti. No,
No,
no.
all right. Oh well. I think sometimes they just throw that in. There's like some sort of like, here's an homage to that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that's Hannibal season one. Dave's review that he put on the site says it's an enjoyable take on the beginnings of Red Dragon with a fresh twist. Despite some ultra-violent imagery, Mickelson is incredible as Lecter, and I agree on the whole the disturbing images. There's a lot of that in that, and it was surprising for network television, especially even though it's at 10 o'clock at night, it seemed to be pushing the envelope a little bit on that.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next review we have is Side Effects. It's a recent movie that was released. It's what people and what kind of he has said as Steven Soderbergh. That's pretty much he said he's taking a leave from directing, and was his last theatrical release as a director. He did recently direct the Behind the Candelabra, the Liberace film that was on HBO, but according to him, this is his last theatrical release as a director. Who knows if that's really going to be true or not, but we'll see. But it stars Rooney Mara, Jude Law, Channing Tatum, Catherine Zeta-Jones. I enjoyed the film. I like Steven Soderbergh's work. He does a lot of his films I really really like. The only issue I have with Soderbergh's films is there always seems to be a little bit of a lull in the middle that kind of like you almost, kind of, I found myself looking at my phone halfway through and then kind of like, okay, something, is actually going on in the film. And then I went back to it, but it was still a compelling film. It's still very, it's it's a thriller. So it's very intense. And there's a lot of great dialogue. There's a lot of great acting. I mean, Rooney Mara, who is like, if you saw her in this film and then you kind of you don't realize it's the same person from The Girl and the Dragon Tattoo, but it is. It's the same actress. It's just very different. And I know that role in that other movie and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is just a very different role and a very different look. But it's amazing to see that that's the same actress, and she was phenomenal in the film. And it's a thriller, and she plays a depressed person that suffers from anxiety, and Jude Law is her therapist that she goes to see and prescribes her medicine, things like that kind of makes her go on a little bit of a psychotic event. So it's very well done. There's a lot of twists in it. I'm not really going to mention any more than that, but there's twists and things like that you don't see coming. It's very well done as far as the twists, and they don't give it away. Unless you're really looking for it, you're looking to know, looking to find a twist in it. You don't see it coming. There's not just one. There's probably 3 or 4 of them in this film that you don't see coming. That it's very well done. It has that classic Steven Soderbergh look that because all his films are filmed with digital video. They're not filmed in all the new HD cameras and things like that. I mean, it's in HD, but it's filmed digital video, so it has that look that which I've seen described as like looking through a dirty window and things like that, kind of a voyeuristic kind of look. So it has that as well, but it's just well done. It's a very good story. It's different. It's original. It's not something that you see from films, which I really like. I like new original stories that, it has a little bit of a procedural feel to it in some parts, just because of the type of things that happen in the movie, but it's very well done, and I would highly recommend going to see it. Picking it up. I know I don't. It's not streaming on Netflix. It has to be a rental from Netflix or a Redbox or anything like that. So but I would definitely check it out. It's very well done. But it's funny how Steven Soderbergh kind of gravitates towards certain actors at certain points. It's like he had Contagion, and Jude Law was in that. He's in this. He did Magic Mike with Channing Tatum, and he's in that. And it's like there's certain actors that he kind of, that kind of do repeat performances in his films. So it's interesting, but it's very well done, and I really hope it's not his last theatrical release film. Because I've always thought he's a good actor, and a good director, and I always thought his films have an originality to them, which I really enjoy. They're not just, not the Ocean's 11; those are remakes and things like that. But his other films just have this originality to them that I really, really enjoy, and the stories always seem to be very compelling and very interesting.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I wanted to check this one out too. Is because it seems so. It actually seemed like an original movie. We usually don't get a lot in original things in Hollywood these days. So I definitely wanted to check this one out. But I found it interesting that you said about the typical Soderbergh look, because it seems like almost everything you see from him has this like perpetually dusk look.
Yes.
Like it's
Yep.
like the sun is always going down, but it was a really bright day, and it's just the sun's just about to go down, and it's everything is beige, and it's just.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
that's just his
but it looks
signature.
really good though.
Oh yeah, he does it really, really well. It doesn't, it kind of, it's just like I said, it's his signature that he's done with all his films, and I like that some directors do that. They just kind of, that's their thing, and they stick with it, and they don't give in to anything else. And producers and movie studios understand that that's just his artistic style. But like I said, it does suffer from also that his style is that look. It also suffers from kind of lulls in the movie a little bit, but it doesn't hurt the movie at all. Even though I say that it doesn't hurt the movie. It's still a very compelling film. It's still very intense. It's still something that you'll want to follow because of the type of twists and turns it takes with the story. And how everything's done, and Rooney Mara is absolutely fantastic in the film. She's wonderful. She plays a terrific part in the film, and Jude Law is great as well. And I'm not saying that Channing Tatum and Catherine Zeta-Jones weren't great. They were still great in the film. They were very overshadowed by Rooney Mara and Jude Law, who are essentially the stars of the film because they are the lead actors in the film. So my review that I put up on the site for Side Effects is that it's a gripping and provocative thriller with artfully crafted twists. Soderbergh directs immensely compelling performances from Mara and Law. So that's our reviews for this week of Under the Dome, Hannibal, and Side Effects. If you definitely check out, we recommend all of the two television shows and the movie. So definitely go check those out. So that's it for our reviews. We have a couple things of industry news. How about it, Dave?
A couple quick things in industry news. Not a big week for news. Things were kind of slow this week. Kind of drug on this week with no big headlines. But one thing we did just see recently here is that there was a Facebook post from Vin Diesel that he got a message from Marvel that they want to have a sit down with him. A lot of people thinking that it has something to do with Avengers 2. Thought it was funny that his Facebook post had said something like he didn't know why Marvel wanted to talk to him. He said you people would know better than I would.
That's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. But I mean, a lot of people know more than Vin Diesel does. So that's it's not really a big it's not a big leap there.
Right.
But a lot of people are saying that he could. They're speculating that he could actually be taking over the role of Thanos in Avengers 2. They have been saying that that's going to be a role that's definitely going to be in Avengers 2. And even though there was a part in the credits where Thanos was
Right.
shown in the Avengers,
Right.
it was portrayed by another actor. There was no indication, that that's really going to be the actor who's going to play it when they make
Yep.
the action when they make the character part of the movie. So we're going to keep tabs on that to see what he's actually going to be doing. Maybe they're going to make him Ant-Man. Who knows?
I'm just surprised that that's been, one of the movies that the people are thinking about that Marvel's going to make. I don't get the whole, like, we don't need to make every single Avenger that, we don't need to do that. Let's just stick with the main ones that everybody knows and likes. And so it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know. You would hope that someone that's going to play a character like that, Thanos, that we know is coming because it was in the credits of Avengers, but you'd hope the person that's playing it knows a little bit about what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just an odd pairing, and we'll see about Vin Diesel. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people seem to like him as Riddick, which is kind of
right, which is another
not really a comic book character, but it's kind of a somewhat superhero-ish character. So people kind of like him as that. So maybe it kind of fits, but we'll see where that goes.
It's just I don't know. I just don't want to see someone that's just completely dead delivering lines as supposed to be a major villain for the Avengers.
Yeah, I would hate to see someone that just because they look like a beast can try to play
Right.
a big looking character. It's just that they're gonna phone it in there.
Yeah.
Other movie news. We found out this week that Liam Neeson has signed on for a big $20 million deal to make Taken 3.
Why?
Why do people keep taking things from him? Have they not seen the first two movies? Do you not know what this man can do?
But why are we making 3 of these? Isn't 2 enough? What else can you do?
Like, where else are you going to go, and what else are you going to take? You took his daughter, and then you took his wife, and then, like, what are you going to take now?
His dog?
Yeah, even then, he's just going to get it back because he's got a very specific set of skills.
Right.
And he's the dude punches wolves. All right.
That's the assumption. Let's not go that far. That was the assumption.
The dude punches wolves.
I don't know. I
thought
need to make 3.
I thought the first one was good. The second one was just, hey, the first one was popular. Let's make a sequel. I wouldn't be surprised if 3 kind of flops at the box office, and but we'll see what happens there. It just kind of seems like they're tacking things on at this point to see how much money they can make off it.
Yeah. Speaking of sequels, you got another doozy.
Oh yeah, another one. We found out that Independence Day 2 is still in the works.
God.
And not only that, but found out that we find this out because Bill Pullman and Jeff Goldblum will be reprising their roles in that sequel. Do we need one? Do we need an Independence Day 2?
No.
No. I mean, the first one was good, but there was no need for a sequel.
Didn't they learn their lesson the first time? I mean,
don't come to Earth.
Right? Why are you coming back?
Yeah, and the thing that I find out is funny about that is that they actually said that they plan to release the movie around July 3rd of 2015. You've got a 2-year window on this movie. Like, how do you even have a release date set for the movie?
Right.
Like, that's a little much. Don't set your calendar for that date to be the release date of the movie.
Right, and then plus, like they said also Will Smith, he's not coming back. He said that that's going to cost them way too much money to get him back and to reprise his role, which is just, I don't know. I guess Will Smith would rather make movies that bomb consistently than actually do something that a role that actually got him to where he is now. So
Yeah,
But still, they don't need to make a second one. I mean, Independence Day is one of those movies that is on FX or something like that you turn on and kind of like just watch because it's somewhat entertaining. Some classic lines from the film and things like that. It's not a reason that we need to make a second one. I know it was big at the time and it was well done at the box office, but we don't need a second
time has
one.
passed.
Right.
The time has
Exactly.
passed.
Right.
Like,
Just
and I
ridiculous.
don't. I think Will Smith's probably not going to be in it because his religion won't allow him to punch aliens in the face anymore.
Right.
Found out that this week that 50 Shades of Grey will be getting a release date,
Oh wow.
August 1st of 2014, with Sam Taylor Johnson as its director. Haven't seen much from this director. Not a lot. Did a kind of a docudrama about John Lennon's life, but yeah, pretty much nothing here on to speak of
Yeah.
from her filmology
Plus,
and that it's
plus, why do all these books have to be made into a film? I
just
don't
because a
like.
movie's a bestseller doesn't mean you have to make it a movie.
Right. I don't get the whole. First of all, I don't get the whole phenomenon of this because from what I've read excerpts of the book that it just seems like it's very poorly written. Um, it doesn't seem like it's like top quality, writing from a writer. But plus, also this release date, August 1st. That's like summer movie season.
Yeah,
You'd think like a movie like this something like that would be, like a February release or, maybe like October when kind of things are dead right before Oscar season. It's like, I don't know. It's just and they don't even have anybody that we know that's starring in the film yet. It's just I don't get it. I don't get the whole phenomenon of this book series and such. Maybe just because it doesn't appeal to me, and I didn't find the writing all that well in the excerpts that I have read. I don't know. It's just weird that we have to make a film just because a book was a bestseller.
yeah. Like you were saying, it should be a February release. Perfect Valentine's Day movie for a date.
Right. It gets you in the mood for Valentine's Day night if you're into that kind of stuff.
I'm just confused. Like, I think this movie will probably end up making a lot of money just because of the curiosity
Oh, I
of
think so. Yeah.
people just being like, how are they going to make this a movie
Right.
and not be, in the theater?
NC-17.
Yeah, how is it not going to be in the theaters with the sticky floors? Like, how is that? How is it going to be in a real theater like that?
Yeah, it's odd. I don't
That's
know.
the only way it's going to make money.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but that was pretty much for movies this week. We found out also this week in video games that Microsoft plans to not ship the Xbox One with a headset included. This news even after they know that the PS4 will have a headset in it and it's cheaper. Um, that
They're including it now with the 360. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's a stupid decision because you already release a console in the current generation with a headset. Your competitor will be releasing their new console with a headset and be cheaper, and your console is more expensive, and you turn your policies around to be more gamer friendly, but you turn around this week and do something that is just going to piss them off again.
Yeah, it's just
like I
it doesn't make any sense. Plus, and I'm not going to go on and on about this, but the thing about it is that Microsoft, their current platform with Xbox Live, they are encouraging people to talk through online through their Xbox Live parties and things like that. So they're encouraging that, and they currently, like we said, they include a headset right now, and it's just a standard headset where it's just all you hear is the party and it's a mic. It's just a standard mono stereo headset with a mic, and that's all it is. It's just it doesn't make any sense to include it now and then not include it going forward. It doesn't make any sense, especially for the type of platform that you have with Xbox Live that's promoting as one of the things that you get with that is with the Xbox Live parties for cross game chat and things like that.
Yeah, and it's weird that they've also flip flopped on their your Xbox 360 headset won't work on the Xbox One, and now that they're not including a headset, they're saying, well, don't throw it out yet because we're trying to work on a way to make an adapter now for it, which the adapter is going to cost you extra money. So now your console doesn't have a
Right.
headset, it's more expensive, and you're going to have to pay for an adapter probably to use your Xbox 360 headset.
Just include the
So
fucking thing and move on.
just do it. I mean, I was actually really happy for them last week with the changing of their policies. I thought it was a great thing, a big step towards making things more gamer friendly, and then you go and do something like this. Just
Yeah.
pissing people off. You're just
Right.
pissing people off at this point.
Yep.
That was pretty much the only thing that happened in games this week. One quick thing on TV news is that we find out that FX is developing a miniseries based on The Last of the Mohicans, scheduled to air in 2014, which was that movie with Daniel Day-Lewis
Yep.
about the French and Indian War, which I thought was a pretty decent movie. So hopefully we get a pretty decent miniseries out of FX for that. It's been a long time past since that movie came out. It was about, I think, 1993 when that came out.
Right.
So they're gonna try to reboot that into a mini series. Hopefully, they do a good job with that.
Yeah, I think they might. Yeah, FX does a pretty good job with those types of things. They're one of those television networks that has a little bit bigger budget, so they can do something good. So that'll be interesting. It'll be something to check out next year.
Yep, so that's all that we had for news in the industry this week. Like I said, pretty slow week with just a few quick blurbs on certain things. But as for releases this week in movies and games, what do we got this week?
Coming out today, we have two movies. White House Down, which didn't that just come out recently? Didn't we just release that? Olympus Has Fallen.
We did.
So I don't.
Yeah, we did have a movie called The Olympus Has Fallen. That was, Is this a reboot already?
I guess maybe it's Hollywood couldn't come up with something else, so 2 months later we had to reboot that movie and call it something different. But I don't know. It's from Roland Emmerich, who's also remaking, was the director of Independence Day and making a sequel of that. So it has Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx in it. I don't know. I've seen the trailers of it. It just looks like, I don't know, another just, Michael Bay, got to blow everything up, and nothing else really matters. We don't care about a story, and I don't know. So it's getting a 48% Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of expected. I'm shocked that it's even that high. So that's coming out this week. We also have The Heat. It comes out. It's from director Paul Feig, who also directed Bridesmaids. It has Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. That comes out this week, which it seems like they've been advertising that movie for like a year.
Yeah,
it seems like I saw the first trailer like a year ago for this film. I'm not sure why it's taken so long to just put this movie out, and but whatever. Looks just like your standard kind of
it's buddy cop film.
Cop film with chicks instead of dudes this time. And that's getting 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. Coming out next week, I know everybody's looking forward to on July 3rd. Despicable Me 2 comes out next week.
Yeah.
On July 3rd, so right before 4th of July, so everybody can check that out on 4th of July when everybody's off. That's getting 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, and there's no top critic reviews. That's just regular critics. That's getting 82% right now. I'll definitely be checking it out. Definitely take my son to it, so I know he really likes Despicable Me and he loves the Minions and things like that. So I think probably both of us will be checking that out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out.
Yep, and The Lone Ranger also comes out next Wednesday, July 3rd. That's with Johnny Depp and Winklevi, Armie Hammer. That they're starring in that. It's from Gore Verbinski and Jerry Bruckheimer. So it's pretty much just Pirates of the Wild West, I would imagine.
Yep.
So
yep, Pirates of the Wild West.
Right.
Johnny Depp has more makeup on this time. Different hat.
I'm sure it's just going to be, Captain Jack as a Native American. So that comes out next Wednesday as well. There's no current ratings on that from Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe we'll get some ratings and things like that to see what it's out, or maybe they won't allow it to be reviewed, and we'll see. Video games, surprising. There's nothing coming out. We're in that summer lull where nothing comes out. We're waiting for the big fall season, things like that. We have the football games and sports games coming out soon, but right now we're in that summer lull, and hopefully everybody has something to play right now because that's pretty dreadful with releases. So
gives us more time to play The Last of Us.
Right, which I'm enjoying. I'm halfway through it, so I'm really enjoying The Last of Us, and I also want to check out the multiplayer. I've heard a little bit more about the multiplayer for The Last of Us, and from what I've heard, that it actually, the multiplayer has a single player feel to it as far as the intensity and like kind of the paranoia. So that'd be interesting, because I've heard there's 5v5 multiplayer and there's no respawn. So when you die, you die. Oh. So, which is kind of interesting. So it kind of makes you have that survival thing that you have to go around. So
we gotta check that out.
Yeah, definitely. So there's no video game releases this week. And that's it for the podcast this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out the reviews, the TV shows and the movie that we recommended with our reviews this week. And we will be back next week with maybe next week. We'll see. It's the holiday, so we'll see if we're going to put one out next week. We're not sure. We'll definitely let you know through Twitter and the website and all that. Let you know if we're going to have a podcast next week. But we do appreciate if you guys have anything you want us to check out, video games, movie, television. Let us know. Tweet at us. Give us a comment, things like that on our site, Facebook, anything like that. We will definitely check it out and review it. You can also interact with us on Twitter and Facebook and all that. And definitely, if you're subscribing on iTunes and soon on our YouTube page, give us a comment, give us a rating. We would really appreciate it. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. Any feedback is really appreciated. So that's it for this week, and we'll check you out, guys. Check you out again soon, and cheers. We'll talk soon.
See you later, everybody.